Guru Vego Chanjaya Radhikaya Tatali Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tada Bhaktaya Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Shri Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So Dhanavad Pranam devotees, I've been under the weather. I'm praying to Shri Guru Varanga, and by the mercy of so many Vaishnavas, I feel like I'm getting a little better. I have a big program coming, so I'm sure by grace of Guru and Gauranga, they will give me mercy to do some seva. I did this video today, very short, to speak on something that I spoke on yesterday at my Monday night telephone conference class. And please forgive me because I am still a little weak and everything. But it's a very, very important thing to understand, and I'll try to make it brief and very concise. In the Skanda Purana, and it's also quoted in Hari Bhakti Vilas, Hanti Nindanti Vaidveshti Vaishnavam Nabhinandati Grujyate no Harshanam Darshane Pattanani Sat, that 6 things, even for a person, and this is the very significant part, even if a person has entered into the platform of bhakti by performance of one of these 6 aparads towards a Vaishnav, they'll be displaced from that position of devotion. So try to understand the dynamic that's being spoken here. If someone has naturally any mood of being an aparadi, they could not be situated in devotion. So the import of the statement here is the power of Vaishnava Aparadha is so severe that even if a person was situated in bhakti, it would displace them from bhakti. So it's saying how powerful these 6 offenses towards a Vaishnava are. So, Hanti means to physically bring harm to a Vaishnava for any reason. Nindanti means to blaspheme, to slander, to give bad word or name to a Vaishnava. Hanti Nindanti Vaidveshti, to maintain for some reason an envy towards a Vaishnava. Vaishnava Nabhinandati, to fail to welcome a Vaishnava, and I'm going to speak about this especially. Grujyate means to develop anger or to develop a mood of anger and maintain towards a Vaishnava. Also, no harshanam darshane, to be unhappy upon seeing a Vaishnava. These 6 things will cause fall even from those situated in the position of bhakti. And here means actually situated in bhakti, not aspiring, actually situated in bhakti, with the speak of someone aspiring. So, I'm addressing a particular incident directly, and I will not mention any names, but those persons who understand the narrative here should take great heed, great caution to rectify this aparad. If a Vaishnav comes to visit your temple, that Vaishnav has no history of being deviant from Vaishnav Dharma. That Vaishnav has no history of being Mayavad. That Vaishnav has no history of being aparadi themselves. That Vaishnav has no other ill quality or undesirable quality except only perceptive or perceived by someone due to being in a different group or sangha, etc., etc. To institute one of those 6 dealings, aparads, to that Vaishnav will take away whatever bhakti you thought you had, and it will prevent you from actually acquiring bhakti until and unless you rectify the aparad. This is how very, very serious Vaishnava Aparadha is. So a person could say, it appears that maybe due to institutional considerations or due to ecclesiastical orders or ecclesiastical rules and regulations, I ended up having to commit one of these 6 things. I was unable to welcome a Vaishnava with the proper etiquette. I was unhappy upon seeing that Vaishnava come to our temple, etc., etc. If you have been involved in one of these things, then without rectifying that aparadha, what you believe to be your practice in bhakti has been explained by Raghunath Das Goswami in the 7th verse of Manasiksha. Pratishta ashta drasya swapacha ramani vidi me natet. He says here that pratishta asha, drasht means something that's very audacious. And the reason that pratishta asha means the desire for name and fame appears very audacious is because it does not recognize itself. So you may say, but that does not sound like me because I'm humble. I don't have desire for name and fame. But once you commit this aparadha, that disease arises in the heart as a natural byproduct, in much the same way a fever arises from various kinds of maladies in medical conditions. So it's an automatic thing that pratishta asha, some form of pratishta, because pratishta doesn't always mean gross pride. That's why it's called drashta, audacious, because it could present itself and dance in your heart like an unchaste prostitute woman, because you can't recognize it. If you saw that an unchaste prostitute woman was dancing in my heart, then you would attempt to clean your heart. But what is so special about pratishta asha is that it doesn't allow itself to be recognized. Just as Maya is imperceptible in many ways, one feature is this pratishta asha. So because of pratishta asha, what you begin to believe is that I'm tasting something in bhakti. I'm chanting 16 rounds or 24 rounds, 32, 64, whatever it might be. I'm following regulative principles. By consensus, many people like me. By consensus even, or ecclesiastical arrangement, I'm considered guru. So many things may be there. And in your own mind and heart, you, due to the influence of this pratishta asha, which has come from the outgrowth of those aparadhas and presenting themselves in your chitta, it's allowing you to think you're doing bhakti. But then Raghunath Das Goswami goes on to say, Katam sadhu prema sprisakti suchihi nanu manaha. Sprisakti suchihi, how is it possible? Katam sadhu prem. He says it is not possible that this pure sadhu prem, swarup shakti, bhakti, can enter the heart of a person who has this pratishta asya. You cannot put those two things together like oil and water do not go together. So once you have either under the influence of misguidance, personal misunderstanding or personal malfeasance in your own bhakti or whatever the case might be, you've committed one of these 6 offenses, then you can understand that bhakti is not there with you. And that what you're perceiving to be bhakti is only pratishtasha, disguising itself in various ways and nourishing your misunderstanding and misperception of real bhakti and allowing you to think that it's actually bhakti. It's not. So recently one sannyasi, very dear god brother of mine, traveled to Africa after many years, maybe 20 to 30 years or more. Myself, this sannyasi, as well as many other sincere devotees, but myself and this particular sannyasi before he was sannyasi many years ago, helped to pioneer preaching in West Africa. We actually started the first temples there. We actually garnered the first devotees there. We train those devotees. We love and affection to those devotees, showing them cooking, how to serve, how to do many things. Even though we were young ourselves, but we put so much effort and surrender into making something by the grace of Srila Prabhupada and Mahaprabhu and our Guru Vargas to manifest there. In particular, this sannyasi and myself, we attended one gathering for one Mayavadi group. And in that circumstance, we were able to extract two very nice young boys from that Mayavadi group. And preaching to them, nourishing them with bhakti, we were able to bring them into the fold of Mahaprabhu's movement. Additionally, Maharaj, though he was not Maharaj then, he personally showed affection to these two young boys. They were not very young, they were going to school, everything, I think college age or something, but anyway, he even gave funds, he gave arrangements for their schooling, various things to help them, so forth and so on. When Maharaj went to visit the temple, I don't know the absolute circumstance, only that it took maybe more than 45 minutes or an hour for him to be greeted by that very person whom he brought to bhakti. I have not mentioned any names here, and I don't want to make it anything very personal. I'm sure the person who's involved will know, and this is why I have reached out. I've also, myself and my wife, been very kind to this devotee for many, many years. If you believe that either institutional arrangement, if you believe that a consensus of people telling you that you're very elevated in bhakti will absolve you from one of these 6 aparads, then you don't understand bhakti philosophy at all. And what you have will only be the dancing of Pratishta Asha on your heart. And the real substance and taste of bhakti, which will grow Trenarapi Sunich, will not be manifest there. You have to, in a very expedient way, very humbly, taking that I love you, actually. And this is why I'm offering this advice. You will reach out immediately and make very deep and sincere apology that I did not, with tears in my eyes, understanding that you brought me from the material world and from the influence of Mayavad. That I did not run when you came to visit me, offer my Dandavat Pranam, embrace you, sit you down, offer you prasad, offer to hear your Hari Katha. That I did not do that. I will have to be so apologetic, because no institution can save you from Vaishnava Aparadha. Even Harinam can save you from Aparadha to Harinam. But Harinam cannot save you from Aparadha to a Vaishnav. You have to understand the deep meaning of this verse. Hanti nandanti vai dveshti Vaishnavam navinandati. You have to understand that bhakti is composed of Swarup Shakti, and it is present in the heart in incremental degrees to the various adhikar, various devotees. If you offend the devotee, you're offending Swarup Shakti or Bhakti Devi. And do you think Bhakti Devi will turn around and appear in your heart? Or if you show her a letter from your institution and say, well, under institutional rules, this is what we did, please comment in this thread in any sastra, anywhere where this will be authorized. Please. You comment and show me in any sastra that I could have committed one of these 6 aparads, but because I belong to this institution and this ecclesiastical body made this adjustment, it is okay. If it was accident, then I'm begging your humble forgiveness. If it was something I did not perceive, I'm begging your humble forgiveness. But if it was a result of simply believing that you had the profile now to act in such a way, you have no bhakti. though you may bewilder many other people, you have no bhakti. So my suggestion would be, you know whom I'm speaking, then you contact that sannyasi, and you, with very pleading heart, if I have committed one of these 6 aparadhs, Maharaj, please forgive me, and please allow that the flow of bhakti which you brought me into and which I'm aspiring for may now freely flow in my heart. And I don't care who your guru is, who was that, this, because if this is what you learned from your guru, then there was no bhakti there either. Bhakti is a very, very serious thing. And Vaishnava Aparadha is the most serious thing. It is mentioned so many instances in Srimad Bhagavatam. Daksha and Lord Shiva, Ambarish, and Durvasha. Just so many in Gaur Leela as well. Don't become subject to this thing. If there's anywhere you see or perceive any nature of Vaishnava Aparadha like this, I don't care who it is, I don't care how many followers they have, I don't care what institution they belong to, they don't have bhakti. You please forgive me, devotees. Any devotees who know me know that I'm not like an angry person or anything. But Vaishnava Aparadha is very, very, very serious thing. And though I'm not feeling well, I promised that I would address this as soon as I had enough energy to do so. And that's why I did this particular tape. So devotees, again, please forgive me. I never want devotees to see this kind of mood. But if I don't also present like this, then people will think this is okay. It is not. It does not matter what sangha it is. It doesn't matter who it is. And I stand very strongly on these things. Right? I don't need anything. I'm not looking for anything from anyone. So I'm telling, if you commit these 6 aparadhs to a Vaishnava, there is nothing that can save you, and there's nothing that can give you bhakti until and unless you rectify with that Vaishnava, reconciling and getting their mercy or forgiveness for that aparadh committed. Alright, Dandavad Pranam, devotees. I look forward to seeing devotees at the Bhakti Intensive, and we shall have a wonderful time in Hari Katha. Jai, Radhe Radhe. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripasindavevacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha.